There's a hard truth we often avoid. We are the ones who burden ourselves with unnecessary weights. We cling to relationships, expectations, and fears as if they are inseparable parts of our lives. But have you realized that every time you let go, every time you take a step back, you come closer to true freedom? Life isn't a journey of accumulation, it's an art of letting go. In stillness, we find strength. In simplicity, we rediscover ourselves. What I'm about to share with you isn't empty rhetoric or distant theories, but profound lessons distilled from Stoic philosophy and my own personal experiences. These insights haven't just reshaped the way I see the world, they've transformed me from within. So, I urge you to give this your full attention, absorb every word, and allow yourself to embrace the deeper meanings. Every moment you dedicate to this journey holds immeasurable value because it is the gateway to a fuller, more meaningful life. Let's begin. Number 1. Detach from the need to be loved. Imagine this. Your life is a work of art, and you are the sole artist who gets to decide its shape and form. But if you constantly change its colors and lines just to please the crowd, will that painting still be yours? Stepping away from the need to be loved by everyone isn't just liberating, it's a declaration of sovereignty over your own life. We live in a world where validation from others has nearly become the measure of our worth. A single like on social media, a compliment from a coworker, or an admiring glance from a stranger can make us feel as if we're truly alive. But is that really the case? Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." True strength lies in mastering your thoughts, not in the opinions of others. Ask yourself, why do you crave universal approval? The truth is, it's an impossible goal. Take a familiar example from history. Even the greatest figures, those who changed the world, like Socrates or Galileo, were judged and rejected by their own communities. If even extraordinary minds couldn't please everyone, why should you strive to do so? Remember, each person views you through their own lens, shaped by biases, expectations, and fears. How can you control something that doesn't even belong to you? The moment you let go of the need to be loved, you'll begin to feel freedom, the freedom to speak your truth, live on your terms, and even fail with pride. Recall Epictetus' wisdom. Seek not that the things which happen should happen as you wish, but wish the things which happen to be as they are, and you will have a tranquil flow of life. Instead of adjusting yourself to fit the expectations of others, adjust your mindset to accept the reality that no one can please everyone. Letting go doesn't mean isolating yourself or becoming indifferent. On the contrary, it's about recognizing that your worth isn't tied to external approval. Franz Kafka's life offers an inspiring story of this principle. He quietly created brilliant works without ever seeking widespread admiration. Even after his death, it took the persistence of friends to bring his works to light. Kafka's legacy is a testament to the fact that true value lies in passion and authenticity, not in the gaze of others. Now, I pose a question to you. If you no longer needed anyone to love you, what would you dare to do? Perhaps you'd finally pursue a long-delayed dream, speak your mind without fear of judgment, or simply slow down and live at your own pace without worrying about being left behind. Most importantly, you might dare to love yourself, freely and unconditionally, without waiting for anyone's permission. This journey is not easy. It demands facing the fear of rejection and the discomfort of solitude. But remember, as Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." Courage is the path to freedom. And when you're brave enough to let go, you'll discover that the only love you truly need, the love that completes you, is the love you give yourself. Start today. Don't let your life be dictated by the approval of others. Step away, find yourself, and write a story that only you can tell. Because in the end, the most important question isn't who loves you, it's whether you love yourself enough to live authentically. Once you've released the need for approval, the journey to freedom will reveal even more. Invisible burdens, like the desire to know everything, often go unnoticed. How can we live peacefully while accepting that not every question needs an answer? Let's explore this in the next lesson. Number 2. Abandon the desire to know all. Letting go of the desire to know everything is one of the most important lessons in achieving inner freedom. In today's modern world, where every question can seemingly be answered with just a few clicks, it's easy to fall into the illusion that knowing more will help us better control our lives. Yet this very desire is an invisible chain, binding our minds to endless cycles of anxiety and exhaustion. Stoic philosophy teaches us that you don't need to understand everything to live a meaningful life. Instead, letting go of the need to know it all paves the way for serenity and peace. Stoicism asserts that the human mind is only truly effective when it focuses on what is within its control: our thoughts, actions, and responses to circumstances. The complexities of the world, or the unanswerable questions beyond our grasp, are not only beyond our control, but also sources of suffering if we cling to them. Think of a cup filled to the brim with water. If you try to pour more into it, the water will overflow. The mind works the same way. If you continuously fill it with unnecessary information and questions, there's no room left for peace. Stoic philosophy reminds us that suffering doesn't stem from ignorance itself, but from overestimating the importance of knowing everything. Paradoxically, the more we try to know, the more inadequate we feel. This leaves us in a perpetual state of insecurity. But ask yourself, is it truly necessary to know everything? You might believe that understanding more gives you control, but life doesn't work that way. The vastness of the world doesn't demand you understand every detail. It only asks that you cherish the simplest things. Consider someone who tries to find answers to everything, from news updates and professional knowledge to the grand questions of the universe. They might spend hours scrolling through social media, reading every article, and joining every debate. The result isn't satisfaction, but exhaustion, burnout, and confusion. Each answered question brings a flood of new ones. It's an endless cycle, like chasing a mirage in the desert. Stoicism advises us that instead of trying to know everything, we should focus on living well each day and prioritizing what truly matters. When you release the desire to know it all, your mind gains the space to focus on what holds real value. This doesn't mean rejecting learning, but becoming more selective and purposeful. You don't need to know every piece of news to live a meaningful life. All you need is to learn what helps you grow and build a better existence. This is why Stoic philosophy emphasizes simplicity in thought and action. Letting go of the desire to know everything is no easy feat. It requires patience, courage, and the ability to face uncertainty. But it's a journey worth taking. You'll find that when you're no longer obsessed with finding answers to everything, you'll have more time and energy to focus on what truly matters: family, friends, health, and personal growth. Ask yourself, is what I'm seeking truly helping me live better? Can I let go of unnecessary questions and allow my mind to rest? Freedom doesn't come from knowing everything, but from accepting that some things never need to be answered. This not only lightens your mental burden, but also helps you live authentically. If you're searching for a solution, start with small steps. Limit the time you spend seeking information each day. Only ask questions when they genuinely help you move forward. Focus on areas that matter most to your life, rather than scattering your energy across trivialities. Most importantly, cultivate intellectual humility. Accept that you can't know it all, and that's perfectly okay. Letting go of the desire to know everything is an act of courage. It frees you from mental weight and brings the peace and freedom you've been seeking. Life isn't a puzzle to be solved, but a journey to be experienced. Let go of what's unnecessary, and you'll discover the true meaning of existence. Are you ready to live freely? If this perspective resonates with you and you feel ready to begin your journey, hit like to let me know we're on this path together. And if you hold a different viewpoint, don't hesitate to share it in the comments. I'd love to listen, exchange ideas, and learn from you. Number 3. Own your experiences. Stop blaming others. No one in this world is responsible for your life but you. This isn't just a truth, it's a liberation. When you continue to blame others or your circumstances, you relinquish control and cast yourself as the victim in the story you are writing. Yet, if you look deeply, you'll see that blaming isn't the easier path, it's a dead end. Imagine your life as a book. When you blame others, you're letting them hold the pen to write your story. Only by taking control can you truly become the author of your own life. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Pain doesn't arise from circumstances, but from how you interpret them. And it's you, not anyone else, who has the power to rewrite their meaning. A compelling analogy comes from video games. In role-playing games, you choose your character and make decisions that shape the outcome. If you make poor choices, the results will be unfavorable. Instead of blaming the game developers for making it too difficult, you replay, refine your strategy, and learn to overcome the challenge. Life is much the same. You can't quit the game or start over, but you can learn to better control the character you're playing, yourself. When you blame others, you rob yourself of the opportunity to grow. Consider a common scenario. You've just met with a business partner but failed to secure the desired deal. You could blame them for not understanding you or criticize the competitive market. But what does that achieve? Instead, ask yourself, did I prepare enough? How could I communicate more effectively? Was my strategy optimal? That's the moment you reclaim the pen and start rewriting your story. The fascinating part is that when you accept responsibility, you realize responsibility isn't a burden, it's a source of power. Don't confuse blame with liberation. Some people think abandoning responsibility frees them, but in truth, it traps them. By refusing to take responsibility, you're admitting you lack the ability to control your life. On the contrary, accepting responsibility is a declaration to the world, I can change. Epictetus once emphasized, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control your reaction. This is the foundation of inner freedom, the ultimate aspiration of all Stoics. So, how can you creatively embrace responsibility? Start by viewing every challenge as a problem to solve. Don't just focus on the issue. Ask, what can I do to change the outcome? Then, cultivate patience. Not every responsibility yields immediate rewards, but it always leads to long-term growth. Finally, remember that you don't have to do this alone. Learn from others, but don't let them write your story for you. In this unpredictable world, we are often swept up in things beyond our control. But remember, you don't need to control the world, you only need to control how you navigate it. Taking responsibility isn't just an act of reason, but one of heart. It requires the courage to face yourself, to accept mistakes, and to keep moving forward. Ask yourself, if today were my last day, would I be satisfied with the story I've written? If the answer is no, then it's time to pick up the pen and rewrite it. Responsibility isn't something that binds you, it's the lighthouse illuminating a path only you can walk. And as you walk it, you'll realize the world doesn't need to change. It's you who are the change you've been searching for. When you decide to own your story, you'll discover that not every chapter needs to be written with triumph in mind. Sometimes, stepping back and letting go of the pressure to win is how you find true freedom. Let's continue this journey together and explore the power of calm resilience in the lessons ahead. Number 4. Break free from winning every argument. You don't need to win every argument to affirm your worth. True freedom doesn't come from applause when you're proven right, but from the ability to walk away from unnecessary confrontations. Stoic philosophy teaches us that inner strength isn't about dominating others, but about maintaining self-control amidst life's noise. Picture yourself standing in a battlefield of logic, where every word is an arrow. Your heart races, and your mind scrambles to counterattack. But remember, as Marcus Aurelius once wrote, you always have the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control. When you choose not to argue, you don't lose. You reclaim control over your mind. You may have heard of the great physicist Richard Feynman, known for his creative thinking and ability to simplify complex ideas. He once said, "I would rather have questions that can't be answered than answers that can't be questioned." Feynman didn't aim to impose his correctness in scientific debates, but opened himself to listening and learning. That's the art of letting go of the pressure to argue, not because you don't care, but because you understand that every debate has its limits. We often get caught up in defending our views for one simple reason: ego. But the ego is a fragile illusion, like a mirror that constantly needs validation to exist. When you enter an argument, ask yourself, am I seeking the truth, or am I protecting my ego? If the answer is ego, take a step back. The truth doesn't need to be argued, it stands firm on its own. Take a relatable example. In a work meeting, a colleague challenges your idea. Instead of reacting instantly, try asking yourself, is there some truth in their perspective? What can I learn from this? In the moment you choose to listen instead of confronting, you not only reduce stress for yourself, but also build trust and respect from others. Winning hearts, rather than winning arguments, is the true victory. Stoicism also teaches us that silence is a strength. As Epictetus wrote, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When you decide not to engage in a dispute, you're not losing, you're creating space for peace to fill your soul. In silence, you can see the bigger picture instead of fixating on petty details. What practical steps can help you apply this lesson? First, practice the 3-second pause technique. When you feel the urge to respond, stop, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, is this really necessary? Second, focus on the bigger goal of the conversation. If the goal is to find solutions, steer the dialogue toward constructive outcomes instead of confrontation. Finally, keep a daily journal to reflect on your interactions. This helps you recognize when you've truly won by staying silent. Do you know where true freedom lies? Not in victory, but in breaking free from the need to prove yourself. Challenge yourself this week. When faced with an argument, choose silence and observation. You'll be surprised to find that the peace you seek doesn't come from words, but from self-control. To conclude, remember that not everyone deserves your energy, and not every argument is worth your time. As Marcus Aurelius wisely noted, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. By choosing peace over victory, you free yourself from the weight of ego and create space for what truly matters in life. Liberate yourself, and you'll discover that true freedom is the greatest reward. Now, I want to congratulate you for making it this far. Your patience and focus show your commitment to this journey of transformation. Each part of this message is a vital piece of the puzzle, and if you stay until the end, you'll see how everything connects into a complete strategy to let go of what's unnecessary and find true peace. Keep going. The best is yet to come. Number 5. Accept your imperfections. Imperfection is an inseparable part of being human, yet why do we often strive to deny it? Imperfection is not just a reality you must face, it is the very condition that allows you to grow. The cracks within you are not weaknesses, they are the places where the light begins to seep in. Embracing imperfection is not merely an admission of your flaws, but a powerful act of freeing your mind from the burden of unrealistic standards. Stoic philosophy offers a unique perspective on imperfection. Seneca once wrote, "What progress, you ask, have I made? I have begun to be a friend to myself." This statement emphasizes that accepting and befriending oneself, including all imperfections, is a true sign of growth. Instead of trying to change everything to conceal your flaws, you should change the way you perceive them. Imperfection is not something to run from. It is an opportunity to engage in self-reflection, to understand human nature, and to find peace. It is a gentle reminder that you don't need to be perfect to live a meaningful and authentic life. Imagine an ancient ceramic vase with cracks. In Japanese culture, there is an art form called kintsugi, where the cracks are filled with gold, making them an inseparable part of the object and enhancing its value. Your life is much the same. The cracks, the failures, and the imperfections all contribute to who you are today. If you try to erase them, you will lose your true identity. Instead, embrace them, fill them with gold, and turn them into something to be proud of. Take Albert Einstein as an example. He was once told by his teachers that he lacked the ability to learn. Had he been consumed by the imperfections perceived by the traditional education system, would we have the theory of relativity today? Einstein not only accepted his different way of thinking, but cherished it. What others saw as imperfection became his greatest strength, enabling him to reshape the world in a way no one else could. But how can you learn to embrace your own imperfections? First, let go of the need to be perfect. Perfection is merely an illusion created by society to push us toward an unattainable ideal. Instead of asking, "How can I be more perfect?" ask, "How can I be more true to myself?" Practice viewing your flaws as a friend rather than an enemy. If you make mistakes at work, instead of berating yourself, ask, "What can this mistake teach me?" Replace self-criticism with curiosity. Curiosity opens the door to discovering the deepest parts of yourself. Think of a friend who is constantly racing toward perfection. They invest countless hours hiding their flaws, striving to be good enough in the eyes of others. Yet in reality, They only exhaust themselves and drift further from true happiness. What about you? Are you also chasing perfection? Are you tormenting yourself over trivial things? If so, it is time to pause and reassess. Your imperfections do not diminish your worth. They make you unique. Remember, a painting is not beautiful because it is perfect, but because its spontaneous strokes and asymmetries give it soul. Your life is no different. You don't need to hide your messy brushstrokes. Instead, let them tell your story. Finally, I want you to ask yourself, if I fully embrace everything I am, could I live a more fulfilling life? Try letting go of the weight of perfection for once, and you will experience the lightness that Stoic philosophy speaks of. Imperfection is not just a part of you. It is a gift that allows you to connect with the world in the most genuine way. Live authentically, for only then will you truly be free. Embracing imperfection is a step forward on your journey to self-discovery. But there is something deeper we must confront. The stories you have always believed about yourself. Do they truly reflect who you are, or are they invisible limits you have placed upon yourself? Let's continue to explore this in the next lesson. Number 6. Liberate yourself from limiting stories. You are not the story you tell yourself. Those silent affirmations that echo in your mind, "I'm not good enough," "I don't deserve this," or "I can't change," are not truths. They are fragments of the past, layers of emotions and beliefs built up over time, forming an invisible prison that confines you. Stoic philosophy, with its timeless wisdom, teaches us that true freedom doesn't lie in external circumstances, but in your willingness to break free from the limitations you create for yourself. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This reminds us that our greatest pain often doesn't stem from what actually happens, but from how we imagine and interpret it. The limiting stories we tell ourselves are clear evidence of this. They are not reality, yet over time, they become masks that imprison the mind, blurring the line between who we are and the illusions we believe. Have you ever asked yourself, are the things I believe about myself real, or just a script I've repeated so many times that I mistook it for my life? These self-limiting stories often arise from fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being enough. But ask yourself, what are you trying to protect? You fear pain, yet isn't it these very stories that have caused you more suffering than failure ever could? Epictetus taught, man is disturbed not by things, but by the views he takes of them. Our greatest pain doesn't come from reality, but from the meaning we attach to it. These limiting narratives are not the truth. They are simply interpretations of the truth. Instead of letting these stories control you, try asking a different question. If I didn't believe this story, what would I do? This isn't just a hypothetical, it's a doorway. When you stop believing the old stories, you open the possibility of discovering a new version of yourself. This doesn't mean denying your past, but redefining it. Mistakes are no longer failures, but lessons. Limitations are no longer walls, but stepping stones. Freeing yourself from self-limiting stories is not something that happens overnight. It begins with awareness, realizing that you are not the story, you are the storyteller. Imagine yourself as a writer and your life as a book. The previous chapters have already been written, but what about the next one? You can start any time, with any story you choose. Start with a small action. Instead of saying, "I can't," try, "I'll try." Instead of saying, "I always fail," try, "I'm learning from my failures." Changing your words changes your story, and changing your story changes your life. Remember, every journey begins with a single step. But that step, no matter how small, requires the courage to let go of the familiar. Finally, pause for a moment and ask yourself, if you weren't bound by any story, who would you become? How would your life change if you dared to let go of the limitations you've created? Don't wait for tomorrow to answer this question. Start rewriting your story today, right now. Freedom isn't found in some distant place. It's found in every thought, every action you choose. Focus on yourself and let the rest go. Say it with me in the comments. I believe in myself. By letting go of limiting beliefs about yourself, you free your mind to start over and write a new chapter filled with freedom and potential. Don't let the past imprison you. Instead, act with faith and determination. True freedom doesn't come from changing the world outside, but from daring to change how you see yourself. And once you've freed yourself from those limits, the last thing that remains is to face yourself. In the stillness and solitude, you will find a strength that the noisy world outside can never give you. Embrace this final lesson, not as something to fear, but as a profound teacher helping you understand yourself more deeply. Let's take this final step together. Number 7. Embrace the strength in solitude. Perhaps you've felt loneliness crash over you like a towering wave, leaving behind an emptiness and fear that seemed insurmountable. But through the lens of Stoic philosophy, loneliness isn't a misfortune to be avoided. It is, instead, a precious space, a realm that only those brave enough to face it can uncover its treasures, self-mastery and inner strength. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "People seek retreats for themselves, in the country, by the sea, or in the mountains. But it is in your power, whenever you shall choose, to retire into yourself." Thousands of years ago, he recognized that true peace isn't something to be sought outside ourselves. Every ounce of serenity and strength we need already resides within. Yet, to access this refuge, one must first overcome the fear of confronting their own mind, a challenge few dare to undertake. Loneliness, at its core, is a rigorous test of self-reliance. It forces you to stop seeking validation or comfort from the outside world and turn inward to face yourself in the starkest way. In this silence, your flaws and fears will surface. But rather than viewing this as a negative experience, Stoic philosophy urges us to embrace and confront these truths. As Epictetus said, "He who is not satisfied with a little is satisfied with nothing." This insight goes beyond material possessions. It extends to inner peace. If you cannot find fulfillment within yourself, no external force can fill that void. Loneliness is a mirror, reflecting what we often try to hide. Without the distractions of others, the mind must focus on itself. This is when you realize that true value doesn't lie in how others perceive you, but in how you understand and treat yourself. In this light, loneliness is not isolation, but an opportunity for growth. It allows you to cultivate a profound relationship with yourself, a cornerstone of freedom in Stoic philosophy. Think of a moment when you were alone. Perhaps it was at night, when all external sounds faded, leaving you alone with your thoughts. In that moment, instead of running from the discomfort, try sitting with it. Fear and insecurity may surface, but so will an empowering realization: you are still whole, even in solitude. This recognition is strength. Loneliness doesn't weaken you. It illuminates what you've always carried within. But how do we embrace loneliness in a positive way? First, shift your perspective. Don't see loneliness as a lack, but as a gift, a chance to reconnect with yourself. Start small. Dedicate 15 minutes each day to stepping away from the noise. No phone, no work. Write down your thoughts, or simply sit in stillness. Next, learn to ask yourself meaningful questions. Instead of seeking answers from others, ask, what do I truly want? What can I change today? These questions lead to a journey of self-discovery, a path where real strength resides. Most importantly, stop viewing loneliness as a fixed state. Loneliness isn't a condition but a skill, the ability to cherish your own company. Once you master this, you'll realize that loneliness is no longer a fear, but an ally. You'll no longer depend on superficial relationships to feel whole. You'll become the strongest version of yourself. As Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, and the most profound thoughts are often forged in silence. So let me ask you this. Are you willing to face loneliness and uncover your true strength? If your answer is yes, then you're already halfway to freedom. Because only when you master loneliness can you truly take control of your life. Let loneliness become your companion, your source of strength, not your fear. This isn't just philosophy, it's a way of life that will transform you forever. We've just explored 7 powerful methods to focus on yourself and let go of what no longer serves you, inspired by the wisdom of Stoicism. These lessons are not merely theories, they are guiding lights on the path to inner peace and true freedom. Remember, genuine happiness doesn't come from what you hold onto externally, but from the understanding and mastery of your inner world. This journey may not be easy, but every step you take is a gift, making you stronger, calmer, and more authentic with yourself. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be brave enough to begin. If you've found value in this video but haven't liked it yet, take a moment to do so, not just to support us, but to help spread this positive message to others who may need it. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your words could be the bridge that connects us all. And if you believe this video might inspire someone close to you, don't hesitate to share it with them. Lastly, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. This journey is far from over, and there's so much more incredible content coming your way. I wouldn't want you to miss a thing.